Okay, we're going to do our fourth and final enhancement product. We've done the wax, the glaze, the crowning touch, and now we're going to use Grunge, which is really a fun product. Let me start with that. It's an ashy gray, silvery gray powder. Kind of looks like asphaltum, or there's another old product they used to use in rotten stone in the old days to bring out the carving in furniture and to make it look dusty and old and like it's a very valuable antique, which we're trying to do too. And this is a nice product to use to get a more subtle look, but you can't use the Grunge by itself because it's a powder. It just doesn't stick to dry paint. So we're going to prepare our surface first of all, and I'm going to close this so I don't sneeze and make a mess. We're going to prepare our surface by using some of the Vintage Market Design clear furniture wax, which is a multi-purpose product. If you haven't used the clear wax yet, this is a moisturizer for wood. You can use it on any of your natural wood furniture to keep it conditioned and glossy and rich looking. It brings out the depth of the grain. It's so nice and gentle. You can use it on your own skin. If you've got dry cuticles, you can use it as a cuticle cream. And it's great just as a finish before your clear coat. I very often will use the wax when I'm doing a deep color like the Bezo red or the Oxford gray black color. If you do a coat of the wax, your clear coat goes on just like butter on top of it, very smoothly. So it's nice to have it as a coat in between things. Multi-purpose product. You just we also use it at our store to make the runners on a drawer work better. So my husband will take out a drawer and put a lot of clear wax on the runners and wipe it off, and it's better than soap or candle wax to get the drawers to work great. So great product. What we're going to do today with it is put a coat on our antique paint, and then we're going to work some Grunge into the crevices of this to give it an enhanced antique look. Now I don't have to worry about drying with the wax, so unlike the other products that I've done here with the enhancement, I'm going to go ahead and do the entire section of the door because this is not going to dry on me in the few minutes that it's going to take to do this. And this is going to give us a moist surface for our Grunge to adhere to. And then we'll buff to get a soft look. And when I say buff with this wax, I'm not doing it to get a sheen. The wax is just an enhancement product. We will actually get our sheen on the furniture from our finished products, which are our clear coats. You can have an interior clear coat, an exterior clear coat, the matte finishing cream, which is my new favorite finishing product. It gives you a matte finish. It just like the name says, it keeps the chalky look of the paint, but it seals it so it's protected. So you can do the wax and then do your matte finishing cream, which is what I'll probably do on this one because I just love how quick the matte finishing cream works. So I've just put a little bit in the crevices. I actually think I'll do a little bit around this square here too, because if this was naturally antiqued, it would have a little bit of darkening in that crevice as well. And talking about darkening in the crevices, we've achieved that to different levels with all these enhancers. And I see people online doing a lot of enhancement with the wax and leaving it there, and that can spell trouble because if you have too much wax in these little crevices and it's not quite dry and it feels tacky, when you go to put the clear coat on, it's going to move around and it's not going to be cured the way you want it to be. So you want just a little bit like you have here. The wax is going to give you the most subtle look, and what this is the pigment that's absorbed. It's not the medium. So you don't want to get a real extreme look like you do with the crowning touch with your wax. If you want more of an extreme contrast look, use the glaze or the crowning touch instead. It's a lot safer. You're not going to have lifting because if you leave too much wax and you do your clear coat on it, it's going to lift, and you don't want it. It's so heartbreaking when you've done all of your layers and you get to the last one and you have something like that happen. So if you're looking for more of a dramatic look, use your glaze or your crowning touch. And it doesn't take long to get comfortable with it. You know, 2 pieces of furniture, and by the time you're doing your third one, you're going to feel like a pro because this stuff is so easy to work with. So there I've got my wax in the crevices. And then I'm going to take my nylon brush because it's thinner and I want to kind of control the grunge it. This is a very French look too. And I'm just going to go where I want that grunge it to be. You don't want to apply it all over because you don't want it to look like a mess. Just going to put it where I want the antiquing effect. Like the crowning touch, this is a real quick way to get an antique look without having to go over the entire surface of your piece. And you'll notice that the wax will make the crowning touch deepen in color just a little bit. It's really just the perfect old age color. Sometimes grays can be cold and forbidding, and this one has a little bit of warmth in it. And I'm careful not to get too much on the brush. I don't want a whole lot of speckles all over the piece. And after a few dips, the wax is on the brush too, so it's helping to hold it. And then what I would do at this point is go over to a place where outside in my yard and blow the excess off. So let me go do that. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I got all the extra little sprinkles of grunge it off by just taking it outside and blowing the excess off. And now, unlike the crowning touch or the glaze, I'm going to use a dry cloth to work with this because I want to remove the extra wax while I'm doing it, and a wet rag would not do that. So it's kind of multi-purpose. As I start going over this, I'm moving the grunge it around and blending it. And I'm also taking off the excess wax, which if you remember can sometimes, oops, there's a little glaze on this towel. The excess wax can be a problem, so you want to make sure you keep going to a clean area of your rag and getting the excess off. This grunge it and clear wax is a really beautiful look if you're trying to achieve that elegant, formal French look. It also, like the crowning touch, has just a scooch of metallic to it. Not a glittery metallic, but just enough that it looks alive. It doesn't look flat. Because some grays, as you know, could do that. And this has just enough of a sheen to it that it looks beautiful. Even though this is meant for an antique look, I could see the grunge it with a contemporary look too because of that nice sheen that it has. And you can see I've got a little bit of residue on my towel here from the glaze, and my clear wax is just letting me take that right off, no problem. Turn over the towel so that doesn't happen and just go in the recessed areas. And I like to use the back of my finger sometimes for the crevices. And then, like some of the other finishes that we've done, I'm going to go back and stipple this a little bit just to finish it off. So the grunge it is kind of mixed in with the wax on the center part, and I can use that to my advantage and blend it out. So I've got a little bit of what we call smoking, or a little darkness around the edge. But because it's in the wax medium, which is lovely to blend, it's moving real quickly for me. Okay, then I'm going to take my same brush that I used to apply it, and I'm going to offload the extra that I have with my wet rag. and get the majority of that off. I keep all kinds of rags with me when I'm doing any work of this kind because I can get the excess off the brush. I can do it a little bit less with a dry towel. I can fix the problem with a wet or dry towel, so I keep those around me all the time. Then I'm going to go back with this brush and just slightly stipple. Not as much as I did with the crowning touch because because of the wax would move around too much, and I don't want to do that. But of all the enhancing that we've done on this board, the Grunge is the most subtle. So if you've got a client that's afraid of color or doesn't want anything that's going to show too much work of the hand, the Grunge is beautiful for that. And it's such a versatile color. I'm doing it on white here, but you could do it on red, you could do it on green, you could do it on a deep blue, like a peacock or a paradise, and it's beautiful. It tones down some of the brightness of the color and makes it look rich. And I've got a little bit of area of white in the corners, which happens, so I'm just going to turn my brush sideways and stipple in there a little bit to get rid of that white spot. And I have gotten, so I'm going to go back with a microfiber towel now, and you want to make sure you're using the type of microfiber that does not have lint. And I'm just going to give it a final buff. And again, I say buff, but I'm not trying to get a sheen here. I'm just trying to remove the excess. Somehow buff is on my brain. The Grunge, for some reason, has the effect of it really does look old. And because I like to be super careful before I apply my finished products, my clear coats, I would probably wait a couple hours and go back and do this again with the microfiber and just make sure that everything that's going to has absorbed and created a bond with the paint, and the rest that is evaporated has done so, and anything that's left after that I'm going to go ahead and remove and take off. And so with all of these enhancing products, you're not sealed at this point. If you were to spill some red wine or some ketchup or lipstick or anything on this, you are not sealed. So with any of the products, the wax, the glaze, the crowning touch, or the wax Grunge combination, you're going to want to go over it and do your clear coat. If it's outside, you can use the exterior clear coat. It works over all of these. If it's inside, the interior clear coat or the new matte finishing cream, which is really fun. And with all of those products, you can brush them on, or you can use a small cellulose damp sponge, dip it in either the clear coat or the matte finishing cream, and do a couple coats. I sometimes do 3 because I like to be careful, and especially when I'm doing things for clients, I want to make sure that it's going to be good and protected. I'll do sometimes 3 light coats. It dries quickly, it leaves a beautiful finish, and you're good to go. So have fun.